What's up? Man, it's awesome to be back to this group. How many were here last time? Okay, so you guys have kind of heard my spiel before. I don't want to spend a lot of time telling my story and getting into that. I want to spend the majority of time answering any questions that you guys have. I think it's the way to bring you guys the most value, whether it's about, entrepreneurship, business, leadership, social media is something I'm passionate about, personal branding is something I'm passionate about. Marketing in general is something I'm passionate about. So I'm happy to dive into all of that stuff. But what I'll do is I'll just give you, last time, did I tell you guys kind of some of the new stuff that was going on in my life with the new media company and the podcast? Okay, so I did tell you, I gave you guys the long version last time. Cool, well, I will do the very, very short version of my story. It's funny because I spoke last week 3 times here to a couple different classes, and I found myself struggling to keep the story very short because I keep starting businesses, and that just makes the story get longer. But I'll try to just frame it down just to bring a little context to those of you guys who don't know who I am. I started a company called New Scooters for Less back in 2004. Just like you guys, I was a student here at the University of Florida. I went to UF from 2000 to 2004. Just graduated in business administration, was minoring in mass communications. Definitely thought my life was gonna go into the music world. I was very passionate about music. I played trumpet in the Gator marching band, played trumpet in a local band around bouncing from bar to bar. Here in Gainesville, worked at Rock 104, which is now Gator 1037. I worked at Skylab Recording Studios, which is a recording studio in North Gainesville, and just was following my interest, right? My interest is music, and somehow did not do anything with music. I was that kid going to Career Showcase. How many of you guys did Career Showcase this semester? Okay. I was that kid that did Career Showcase, dressed up in my suit and tie, resume in hand, walking around, meeting the different recruiters, shaking their hands, and they're asking me, hey, okay, nice to meet you. So Collin, why do you want to work for our company? And I'm thinking to myself, oh my gosh, I don't. And it was just one of those moments for me where I just realized like I didn't fit that mold. I really, really, really did not like wearing a suit and tie. This is how I go to work every day. And I feel lucky just for that. Not to say that suits are bad. It's just it wasn't me. And shortly after that, I'm sitting at that bus stop. I used to live over at 20th Avenue, west side of campus, still a 2-lane road. I'd sit there waiting for this bus to pick me up and take me to school. And the bus would drive by with these big words across the top, full bus. And that bus would just keep driving right on by. And, it was moments like that that were really like, okay, man, this has happened a lot. Luckily for me, being in the business school, I could set my VCR. You guys know what a VCR is? Go Google it if you don't. Set my VCR and record my classes on Cox Channel 5, and that's how I went to school. So it was one of those things that was a little frustrating. I'm like, okay, if I'm struggling with this, how many other college students are struggling with this, and what can I do about it? And I believe that the answer was scooters. So I started New Scooters for Less, and we created this scooter business, which we basically redefined how students got to and from class. It was buses, it was bicycles, and I was like, you know what? The ability to wake up, walk downstairs from your apartment, jump on your scooter, and go park right outside your classroom. I was like, that is a huge time saving. Everybody's gonna value that. And we started the scooter business. And 15 years later, we just had our 15th year anniversary, which is pretty exciting. Thank you. Thank you. It is really hard to believe that it's been 15 years because I swear it feels like yesterday I was sitting right there. But 15 years later, we've created one of the top dealerships in the country. It's super, I've been honored because I just got back from Columbus, Ohio, where I got to speak at AIM Expo, which is the American International Motorcycle Expo, which is a huge conference in our industry. And I got to speak, and they actually paid for me to go speak. And they paid for my airfare and hotel, and I was like, this is crazy. So it's cool to see the impact that we've had, not only on Gainesville and the University of Florida, but on other dealerships and how other dealerships across the country are now performing and building, and basically, and really, taking some of the things that we've done as a company, especially from a cultural standpoint, from a customer service standpoint, and really, executing those things within their own businesses. Last year, organically, started a media company. I've built, and my team has built, New Scooters for Less on the foundation of customer service, but also on social media. A few years ago, we started doing a vlog in-house where we started showing people behind the scenes of our dealership. And basically, I just had a camera, like that one back there, following me around and filming the ins and outs of us operating our business. We threw this up on a YouTube channel called NS4L TV. And if you type ns4l.tv into your browser, it'll take you to our YouTube channel, and really started showing what we were doing behind the scenes. It was really cool because this content really started to show our values as a company. Not everything was great. We like any business, have our own problems. And never like that. We had a customer service problem, for example, which was a University of Florida football player actually sent out a very negative tweet about our company, and I freaked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? And I thought, it was interesting because a lot of people would take a moment like that and they would go, okay, what do we do? How do we get rid of this problem, right? And instead, what happened was you saw a business owner, somebody who really, really, really cared about where we messed up. And you see us going through, problem solving, trying to figure out what went wrong, where New Scooters for Less messed up, and how we can make it right for that customer. And this episode, we filmed it, it wasn't intentionally filmed. We just had the camera there. The camera was documenting what we were doing. And sure enough, we fixed the problem. That customer took down that negative tweet, and we were able to make it right. And through that, we were able to expose the values of the kind of company we were. And, I think it shows something when a business owner really stops everything that he's doing, the entire plan they have for the day, and starts executing, working with the leadership team to make this right for that customer. And so it was really cool. We didn't really know what was going to happen through this vlog. We simply created the vlog because we wanted Gainesville, we wanted New Scooters for Less, we wanted the University of Florida to be the scooter capital of the world. And a lot of people ask me about that and what that means. And for me, that means when somebody hears the word scooter, they think of Gainesville. They think of our company. They think of this university. You guys don't know it, but this university is very much, and the scooter culture here is the example for other college towns across America. All these other college towns are starting to look to us and look to me and pick my brain and pick my team's brain on how they can execute a very similar model in their college town. So it's very rewarding to be that example. But that's why we originally created the vlog, was because we wanted to take it up a whole nother level in terms of getting outside of Gainesville. We didn't want just Gainesville to know who we were. We wanted the entire world to know who we were. So that's why we decided to invest into that vlog. But as life would have it, start of 2018, I'm still focused on just building New Scooters for Less, and an opportunity organically happened to actually start a media company. And it happened solely because of a piece of content that we created. We were the #1 genuine scooter dealership in the country for 2017, and we ended up making a promo video to highlight that. And that promo video was all about New Scooters for Less. It was like, New Scooters for Less, #1 dealership in the country. And it showed our plaque and all that stuff. And I was like, this is great, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to run this against college students in the fall and say, hey, don't come buy your scooter from the #1 dealership in the city. Come buy your scooter from the #1 dealership in the country. And that's exactly what we did. But at the same time, I had my very talented video team make a second version of that video, cut out New Scooters for Less altogether, and we inserted our distributor, which was Genuine Scooter Company. We inserted their logo and actually gave it to them as a gift and said, hey, Genuine Scooters, you guys give this to all your dealers, because dealerships have screens in their showrooms. They have social media platforms. They're like, hey, give this to your dealers. They can use it to promote your scooter, and they can display it online on screens and so forth. They saw it. They came back to me and said, Collin, this is awesome. How much would it cost to do this for every scooter model that we sell? And then the next day, we signed our first deal doing video work, where we were making money off video for one of the nation's biggest scooter distributors. So that kind of sparked it. When we started getting money from that, I was like, oh man, all right, maybe we should consider starting a media company. And then more opportunities started gravitating my way, mainly because there's a lot of businesses here in Gainesville who market to students. And I had a lot of businesses coming to me already for advice on how to get in front of students. And I was able to offer that advice. But what I kept finding were that these business owners, they're just incredibly busy. And even if I gave them all this advice, I'd be lucky if they actually executed on 10% of it, just because they were busy business owners. So that just allowed me the opportunities to say, hey, would you consider us writing you a proposal to do that work? And the answer was yes, and it kept being yes. So we decided to start a media company, and it's going really strong. We're a little over a year in now, and that's been a drive. That's been where I've been focusing all of my time. But I have a CEO at New Scooters for Less. His name's Michael Dees. He's actually been working with me since 2005. I've known him for a long time, and he's an incredible leader. So it's cool for me to be able to really hand those reins over to somebody else, really serve as like a leader and a mentor to that group, while I get to go focus and build a new company. So I also started a podcast last year, which has been very rewarding. And the podcast has three main purposes. Let me start with the reason that I started it. The reason that I started it was because I serve on the Gainesville, I serve on the board of directors for the Gainesville Area Chamber of Commerce. And I kept seeing these, this university, Santa Fe College, the city of Gainesville, the Chamber of Commerce. I saw these organizations all trying to get on the same page and really create a unified vision for Gainesville. And I love that. And I love that I get to play a role in that. But, a lot of the times these things just take time. They take time to execute that vision. So for me as a marketer, I'm like, what can I do? And the answer was, I'm going to create a podcast. I'm going to create a podcast that really highlights what makes Gainesville so special. And what is that? It's you guys. It's the students, right? We have top 7 talent right here. What can I do to keep some of you in Gainesville? A lot of you guys don't even realize that there's so many amazing companies right here. Like, I know not everybody's going to stay, but if I can keep just a little bit larger percentage of you staying right here in Gainesville and working for a lot of these awesome companies, then Gainesville's going to be much better for it. So that was mission number 1. Mission number 2 was to build as many collaborations within the city as possible. Businesses hearing of each other and knowing of each other. We've even had students on the podcast where we interviewed the guys, the team that was really putting the Hyperloop stuff together for UF. That was really interesting. And then the third mission is really broadcasting out there to attract talent and businesses to Gainesville. The podcast is doing extremely well. I'm super blessed. I'm so grateful. We record episode 78 or 79 right after this. I'm recording tonight, so I got a very busy day. But it's been awesome, and I would just encourage you guys to really get active in the community, because while you're here in school, there's so much opportunity to really build relationships with businesses here. So I'm going to leave it at that. That has gotten faster, huh, Josh? And I want to spend the time answering any questions that you guys have. Yes?
What does your shirt mean?
What does my shirt mean? So this is just a hashtag that we created around the podcast. This is one of our podcast shirts. So we hashtag a lot of our podcast stuff with hashtag GNVBIZ for Gainesville Business. So that's what it stands for. The podcast, if you guys want to check it out, it's called the WHOA, like whoa, GNV Podcast. So funny story how that kind of came up. we got all this podcast equipment, and it came in. I got like the little board and everything, soundboard, and it has those features where it does like the echoey stuff. I'm in my office alone, and I'm yelling, "You are listening to WHOA Podcast, coming to you from Gainesville, Florida." I'm just like fooling around, and I record this thing, and I like just said WHOA because I'm like thinking like call letters, like a radio station, you know? And then I played it back, and I was like, dang, that sounds really good. I was like, I can't delete this. This is like really good. And so I named the podcast the WHOA Podcast because of that. And then I went and I like, okay, and so now I got to like look this up. So I go and I look it up, and I found out that the Whoa podcast was like a horse podcast, like, whoa! And so I come back and I'm like, okay, well, we can't be the Whoa podcast. So I just added the G and V. So now we're the WHOA GNV Podcast, and hey, it's going well. Yes.
How did you go from like having this idea of like a problem you could solve, and then actually executing on that? Because like I assume you didn't have extensive knowledge on like scooters and like how to like run a scooter company and stuff. So like how did you like transition from the idea to like the actual company?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it could be a long-winded one. So let me try to keep it brief. At the time, like in 2004, when this opportunity, like I'm seeing this as an opportunity. Well, another thing that happened was I met my business partner. So here was a gentleman who he had this drop shipping thing that he was running from his dorm room, and I was fascinated by it. And to just summarize it, you guys know what drop shipping is? Okay, so like for those of you that don't, just to summarize it, he was selling these like gas-powered scooters with like the little two-stroke motors on them. Very similar to like the electric scooters and stuff that you see, but these were gas-powered, and they were like kids' toys is what they were. But like he would list an eBay auction, sell it for like $250, collect the order, and then he had a guy who he had built a relationship with in California who would ship that order from his warehouse to the customer, right? So he'd basically pay that guy $200, I'm just using round numbers, but say you pay that guy $200, send the order to him, collect $50 off the top, and that guy would ship it. So he's making $50 running eBay auctions out of his dorm room. And I met he was on the same intramural soccer team. So intramurals are great. So you might find your next business partner at an intramural team. So intramurals are great. We expect 30 people there.
30, I like that. We'll have 3 teams.
But when I met my partner, I was like, and I heard this, I was like, dude, you're really smart. and then it like really for me it was like I recognized this problem over here, and then I saw this opportunity of the stuff that he was doing, and I started asking the right questions, which were, okay, how much more money would you make if you cut out that guy in California? What would the cost be if we housed the inventory here? Like I started asking the right questions. He had 2 years of school left, and he was like, and I asked him, I was like, have you ever thought about doing this yourself? Like, why have this middleman? And his answer was, yes, but I've got 2 years of school left, so I'm just gonna wait till I'm done. And I was done. And I said, I'm done. I was like, if you wanna do this, I was like, look, the motor scooter thing is gonna be big. This is how college students are gonna get around. We can do that on the retail side, but we can also do what you're doing on the wholesale side. We can do both. And so that was the idea creation, right? Let's do both of these things. The execution was, me going on more dates with him than I was with my girlfriend at the time, right? We're sitting at restaurants with spreadsheets, looking at numbers, trying to figure out like, does this make financial sense? We went and, like what's rent gonna be? What's the utilities gonna be? I mean, we didn't really have a business plan as much as we had, just numbers and like looking at this, okay, what's it gonna take to get this off the ground? He had about $19,000 of money from doing that process, the drop shipping process, that he was gonna invest into the company, and I was gonna invest the time. So we went in at 50-50, but the agreement was that 19 grand is gonna get us off the ground, but we're gonna pay him that back. And when we do, like, here we are, 50-50, everything's square. So it was a little bit of money from him, a lot of time for me, and it was like, all right, ready, set, go. Process of ordering scooters, the first batch of motor scooters we got, I mean, they were terrible. They were so bad to the point where we weren't even like getting to sell them. I mean, it was like, all right, I think we parted out most of them and sold the parts on eBay because they just weren't good enough. They weren't the quality. And so, it's trial and error. And that's what we did until we kept getting bigger, better. Now, we have the best brand. We're representing the best brands in the industry. And quality is by far like one of the things that is a must with our brand. And you just learn. And I say you fail your way to success, but they're like micro failures, right? There was never a failure that like really took us all the way out. And I mean, I feel very lucky because that first year, just to bring it into perspective, that first year when we started in March, we ended the year at about $800,000 in sales. And then the second year, we did $2.8 million in sales. And we were 21 years old. And there's chaotic stories. It's seizing opportunity. It really is. Like, everything in my life has been recognizing opportunity and actually having the guts to go and do it. And I think a lot of the times, especially where you guys are at right now, right? Like, there's a lot of pushback on things, right? I mean, even my parents, when I told my parents, I was like, yo, I really want to do this. I really want to go start my own company. They were the ones that were like, I really don't think you should. The answer was no. I think ultimately you guys are at a stage where you have to make decisions. Like, this is your life. Like, what do you guys want to do? And you just have to be willing to do it. Step outside the box. I mean, does anybody in here want to start a business? All right, like, for me, I'm telling you, in my professional opinion, there's no better time than to do it right now, because there's nothing to lose, right? Sure, you might lose some money, might lose a lot of your time, but the majority, would I go and start a business now? I don't know. If I would have gone and got the job, would I have started a business now? I don't know, because now, I have a wife, 2 kids, a mortgage. Like, I don't know if I would leave a full-time steady job to go start a business right now. So anybody who's interested in starting a business, I always encourage you guys to do it now. Does that answer your question? I told you it was going to be a little long-winded. I'll try to keep it short. Yes?
So as an entrepreneur, where I'm sure you're very busy all the time, how do you balance running a company and also your personal life?
I schedule everything. If I showed you my Google Calendar, you would be like, whoa. Because every second is just completely covered. A lot of people feel differently about this. Like, oh, you got to schedule time with your family. But I just feel like you're always going to schedule the things that are important to you. So, like, in my calendar, Friday night, 7 p.m., my family and I are going to the UF soccer game. And I'll take them, and it's in there, and like, I won't miss it. If my kids have events going on or school things, like, I'll schedule it in, and I just make sure it gets scheduled in. There's no such thing as work-life balance. That's something that you're going to hear a million times when you graduate and you start working. Like, there is no such thing. It's work-life integration. My family is very much part of my team. If there is a plus side for me, my wife, she was there from day one of starting the business. So, because we were dating while she would, when I started the company. So she has seen everything, and she's been exposed to that world from the beginning. So even though it's a lot of time investment, she gets it. But I think, and I've gotten much better. I do a really good job of just scheduling that time. That's all I can say to do. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
So you mentioned failure a couple times before. Like, what is your personal relationship with failure as a whole?
So I embrace failure like no other, I feel like. My biggest failure to date was actually the partnership. So in January of 2006, we had split. I think that's super important. If you do meet your partner at the intramural game, and you guys decide to start a business, make sure you have the same vision, right, for what you want to do long term. Ultimately, our vision wasn't the same, so we ended up splitting. Still do work together though on a business to business side, but not partners. But I just don't care about failure. I don't know. I know that's hard for a lot of people because a lot of people they do fear failure. But like that's how you learn. That's how you grow. If you make a mistake, you learn from it, right? And so I just embrace failures. Look, now in my career, like I don't feel like I'm ever gonna make a gamble so big where I'll risk like everything. Like I still make risky moves, but they're all measurable risks, right? So I don't think I'm ever gonna like gamble the whole business away, right? Because now I got 15 team members who depend on that business, so there's a lot more at stake. But I 100% believe in micro failures and decision making. Make a decision. If it's the wrong decision, then pivot. Flex. But I think failure is the actual way to success. Good. What else? And last time I was here, you guys had way many questions. Had a whole bunch of questions.
Another one.
Yeah.
I've tuned into a couple of the episodes of your podcast, and I'm curious how you book speakers or guests, not really speakers. Is that something that you personally take upon yourself, or you kind of listen to what people are talking about?
Yeah, I pay attention. So I'm on social media all the time. So if somebody or someone or some business catches my attention, then I reach out to them directly. That's not the only way though. The other way is often a referral from somebody else who has already been on the podcast. So that's a strong way. And then the third way is we actually have a form on our website. So if you just go to WHOAGNV.com, there's a nominate a guest link, and there's a form on there. So we get a lot of applications that way, and then we'll go through those. For me, I'm trying to keep a very solid mix, right? I like to have, it definitely leans business. It's very much an entrepreneurship podcast, but, so what I mean is we have startups, we have veteran companies. Like yesterday, I had the opportunity, it was so awesome. I had the opportunity to interview Darren Cook, who's the co-CEO of Infinite Energy, which is a 500 million plus revenue company based right here in Gainesville. And so when you get the opportunity to sit down with somebody like that, you're kind of in awe, right? Somebody who went to UF and started this company in 1994, and here they just celebrated their 25th year, and it's this $500 million company with 300 plus employees. It's pretty cool. But we often reach out to those types of guests, and it gets easier. If anybody's into podcasting and you want to start a podcast, it gets easier because the more episodes you do and the better it gets and the more attention you get, they start coming to you. I get emails daily. It's like, hey man, how does somebody get on your podcast? But we've had authors, we've had children, we've had sports figures. We've had a very diverse group. Which I want. I want to show all these different aspects, and it's cool because we even had Ahmad Black, who was a 2008 national championship Gator team, played professional football with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, works here in Gainesville now. We had him on the show, and to hear about football culture, Gator football culture, and how you can even I'm listening to him speak, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like running a business. Running a football team is exactly like running a business. There's cultural dynamics, and so it's fascinating to be able to pull those lessons into business, and it's really, really cool. Yes?
If the scooter business hadn't worked out for you, what would you have done?
That's a good question. I think I would have started with something else. I think I definitely have the entrepreneurial DNA. I don't know if I could ever work for anybody. And I think I recognized that when I was in school. But, I would just keep seeking opportunities. it's so hard because a lot of people ask me the question like, so were you passionate about scooters? And the answer was no. Like, I just knew that was the solution to the problem. Definitely have become passionate about scooters, and it's cool to see even the challenges with it because you guys might not know this, but like back when we started, scooters weren't cool. Scooters were kind of dorky. I had like moms and dads bringing their kids in. And we should get you this. This is going to save you so much time, getting to and from class. And the students would be like, oh, Mom, Dad, no. Like, I wouldn't be caught dead on that. That's dorky. And, so we had to spend a lot of time changing the perception and actually making scooters cool. And so my passion for scooters came through simply solving the problem. But I don't know what I would have done if it wouldn't have worked out. I think I would have just kept exploring until I found something else I was passionate about. Yes?
What's like the culture that you've instilled into your team with the project?
What's the culture that we've instilled? So a few years ago, when we really started developing out in terms of team members and having a solid group of team, we got to like 10 to 12 people, and we sat down and really formulated 12 core values. And those core values are really the defining, aspects of our business. These are the values that we hold our company accountable to, our team members accountable to, that we hire and fire by. And core value number one is by far the most important to us, which is to create and recreate the UCE, which is the ultimate customer experience. So for us, it was like, all right, we're going to make customer service number one, and that's going to be the thing that we focus on intently. And then the other values, they're important as well, but when we had that customer experience as like the framework, it really helped. And it's kind of funny because even talking about the social media things that we do and the fact that I have this media company, it all exists because of how we were using social media platforms to build new scooters for less. I think a good example was, using I was using Snapchat, still do, but I was using Snapchat heavy when I was running New Scooters for Less. I was using it heavy to build the relationships with the customers. My business card was my Snapchat code. And I would give that to customers and say, hey, if you ever need anything, like reach out to me directly. Like I'm the owner, I'm happy to help. And then people would do it, and it would be 10 o'clock at night when dealerships are closed. Well, that was a differentiator. That was something that we were doing that other businesses weren't doing. And so when you're getting a response from the owner of New Scooters for Less at 10 o'clock at night telling, because you're asking, hey, I don't know when I should come in for my next service, and I'm here, hey, what kind of scooter was it again? All right, cool, yeah, make sure you come in at the 500-mile mark. That building those relationships through the platforms definitely set us apart and kind of raised us up to a whole nother level. And now I get to coach other businesses using those same methods, which is really cool. So, I don't know how much time I have.
Yeah. You have time for one more question, if not.
One more question, make it a great one. One more?
Social media, I think of what's trending. So I guess the one thing, like you said, the Snapchat cards, that's something that was really hot with college students. Are you always looking for the next trend?
Of course. I'm super active on TikTok right now. I'm crushing the TikTok game, guys. I'm not even kidding. No, it's funny because, I get that kind of response, everybody laughs. But, you guys have, brothers and sisters who are on those platforms. And, I know they're not here right now, but, if they're 15 years old, 12 years old, whatever, they will be in a few years. So if I can understand how to market to them through these platforms, I've already reached out to TikTok, hey, what can I do to do sponsored ads? Just because I want to test and I want to learn and I want to taste, because I want to be able to one, build, get exposure, gain attention for New Scooters for Less, but also be able to educate our clients on the opportunities that are there. You guys, when Instagram first, I truly believe this, I don't have proof, but I truly believe that we were the first business advertising on Instagram, because the day that Instagram said you could do a sponsored ad, I did one and we absolutely destroyed it. It was a picture of two scooters with a little A-frame sign that said our biggest sale ever on the A-frame sign. It was in the feed. I ran it against college students. I spent $250 promoting that ad, and I sold probably 20 scooters off that one ad. And so when Snapchat filters came out, I had Snapchat filters on every dorm across campus, thinking, all right, this building is tall. Like, I'm probably gonna get more reach because it's stacked. I'm like, and it's funny. The first time I put a Snapchat filter on the stadium just to see like what it would cost, and it was like $500. Like when I did, and then like it's probably like a month later. A month later, I went back. It was like $5,000. I'm like, I should have put it on the stage. And like we did the parade route one time, did the entire route. It was like 2 million square feet. I mean, we've done that stuff, and we were the first ones doing when those opportunities came out. But as a marketer, like I'm all over that because I want to continuously test. So definitely follow me on TikTok. My handle is right now at WHOA GNV. And that's just because somebody has my name, and I'm so pissed about it. But I like already tried to message to try to buy my name, but that's all right. We'll work on it. You guys, this is my contact information. If there is a platform that I am the most active on, it's Instagram. So definitely, please go connect with me there. Send me a message tonight. And let me know how I can help you. If there's anything that I can do, there's my direct email. And as always, it's a pleasure to come and speak to you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. See you later.